The Mekong River is an amazing river for different reasons. It is an amazing river because it is relatively pristine. It's one of the last large rivers that is pristine.
It's one of the most biologically diverse areas, biologically diverse river basins in the world.
Here we're talking about 780 species approximately that have been precisely recorded one by one. The estimate for the overall species richness is around 1,200 species.
So the Mekong River's fisheries is the most productive inland fishery in the world. It contributes up to 2% of the total global fish catch, including marine fisheries.
I lived in the Khone Falls area for 7 years, between 1993 and 1999. And in that time, I really learned how important fisheries were in terms of the culture of the people.
The fisheries are vitally important to the livelihoods of the millions of people in the Mekong Basin. Fisheries are a crucial element of food security and household economy.
So it's really a place of huge productivity. And of course, this means protein available to people, all kind of people, including poor people who can freely go to the river and fish and have access to food.
Recently, they found that nutrition levels for small children, or for children 5 and under, have actually gone down in Laos and Cambodia within the last 5 years. There's been declines. And some nutritionists that are working for the World Health Organization have found that the main thing that people are missing is not rice, it's not vegetables, it's animal protein and edible oils. And those are exactly the things that are contained within fish. A high percentage of the fish that are caught in the Khone Falls and in the Mekong River more generally are highly migratory. And there's a special reason why that's the case. The Mekong River has some of the highest changes in water levels throughout the year. You have, in the height of the rainy season, you tend to have as much as 30 times as much water in the river as compared to the lowest point in the rainy season. That's the biggest change of a large river in the world.
Here in the Tonle Sap, given the intensity of migrations on this river, about 10 days before the full moon in January, you will find 3 million fish passing every single hour, day and night.
And you have different fish migrating at different times of the year, and some are going up, some are going down, and then all different months there are migrations that are taking place. And each fish species has very different requirements, and some of them are on the surface, some of them are at the bottom, some of them are on the side. They're all doing different things.
These people, they understand the life cycle and the movement of fish. So they know at what time of year certain species or certain groups of fish will be moving from one habitat type to the next. And they target these migrations, these fish migrations.
When fish migrate up the Mekong River, especially from the Great Lake, and that's a very important part of the migrations that take place, when they come up there, they're basically much of the fish that the whole region is depending on. Not only Cambodia, but also Laos and Thailand as well. And they have to go through the Khone Falls area in order to get to upper areas.
One of the unique characteristics of this river basin is that it also is home to some very unique and large species.
The giant catfish is one of them. It's a flagship, it's an icon. It is quite an exceptional fish. It can reach 3 meters and 300 kilos. They are critically endangered. They are too big, they are easy to catch, and they are not dangerous at all. They are herbivores, planktivores, they eat plankton, but they are just giants and on the brink of extinction. There are some other giants, like the giant stingray that reaches more than 200 kilos, the giant barb, also another 200 kilos, 1 meter 50. So a few giants, but also on the other side of the range, one of the smallest fishes in the world that reaches 2 centimeters maximum.
from a fisheries perspective and from an aquatic biodiversity perspective, the Khone Falls area in Sipandon is one of the key spots for the fishery and for fish biodiversity and for conservation and management in the Mekong Basin.
The Khone Falls are a very particular place in the Mekong because they are a bottleneck for all migrations between the floodplain systems, between that is Cambodia and Vietnam, and the northern part of the Mekong system, that is Thailand, Laos, and China.
The Khone Falls is along the fault line of the Mekong River, which forms one of the largest waterfalls in the world and the only major waterfall on the Mekong River.
And that's a very important thing to understand about the Khone Falls, is that it's not just one fishery, it's not just one time of the year. It's everything is being developed in together with nature, to fit with nature and what's happening there.
Unfortunately, there is a plan for a dam to be built in Don Sahong, which is a reason why many people worry. It would be the first case of a mainstream dam in the lower Mekong Basin, and that one would already interrupt the dry season migrations for a number of species.
If fish couldn't pass through the Khue Sahong Channel, it would have devastating impacts for Upper Laos and also for Thailand and all the people that are living adjacent to the river there, and also the tributaries that they go into after they get upstream. And then of course, what comes up must come down. So if you don't have fish going up, then they're not going to come down. And that would mean a devastating impact on downstream areas in Cambodia, including the Great Lake itself.
The Mekong fisheries are the most important inland fisheries in the world. That fact has been previously neglected or ignored, and that has to be taken into consideration. We're talking about something of global significance.
What do poor people eat? They eat wild fish. And when that wild fish isn't available, aquaculture, they can't afford to invest in ponds. Often they don't have the land, they don't have the expertise, they don't have the technology, they don't have the capital.
It is very predictable that the fisheries will decline progressively, as they have all over the world. The problem is with the pace of development at the moment, with all the dams that are planned in the coming 20 years, people are likely not to have time to adjust to that. And that's where it can become very dangerous.
The Millennial Development Goals of Laos and Cambodia, which I very much support, are going to be negatively impacted if fish are not available. So when we're talking about development, fish are a huge part of it in terms of people's ability to advance. And I think that that's sometimes forgotten.
In development prospects, we need to balance and assess the trade-offs between what is to be gained and what is to be lost. And clearly, urban development, for instance, cannot be done at the expenses of food security.